Yes, I've seen Bigfoot in our neighborhood. He's driving a cab. I don't think Bigfoots ought to be able to drive a cab. How could he pass a driver's test anyway?
Hello, everybody. This is radio's Wally Ballou on one of our principal thoroughfares, getting the opinions of people on radio today, what radio means to them. Sir, I wonder if I could speak with you for just a moment.
Yeah.
My name's Wally Ballou. We're on the radio.
I've heard of you.
I'll just refer to you as Mr. X, if I may.
Well, that's good because that's my name.
Sir, do you listen to the radio very much?
Oh, you got the wrong guy. I'm a TV man. No, very little radio. Well, I tell you, I have a clock radio that gets me up in the morning.
Listen a little bit
yeah,
before breakfast while you're
right.
shaving.
While I'm shaving, and then I get the time and the weather and the traffic and what to look for, and from a radio. But
You commute to work?
I drive in.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm a shrimp deveiner in one of the big restaurants here in town.
That's interesting.
I take the shrimp and I take that black thing out of
Yes,
it,
yes.
and I put that in a separate dish from the shrimp I've just cleaned. And I have a little radio by the black dish where I put the other stuff. I have a little radio there to play music in the background.
Well, I suppose you'd kind of go crazy deveining shrimp all day if you didn't have something to listen to.
That's right. It's pretty tiring.
At the end of the day, I don't suppose you go home and ask your wife for a shrimp cocktail.
No, they always say that. They always say, I bet you hate shrimp.
Yeah.
And actually, it's not the case. I like shrimp. I still like to eat them.
Isn't that interesting? You say you drove home. Do you listen to the radio when you drive in?
Yeah, well, I'm I want to get a line up on the
car.
traffic and
Yeah.
like that.
Now, after dinner, that's when you watch TV, huh?
Not as a rule. I'm quite a hobbyist. I have a shop down the basement. I like to go down there and make things out of glass, bottles, wood, ships, and I like to shellac fish. That
Yes, I've seen
them out on the wall.
Things of that sort.
I've shellacked 12 dozen shrimp and put it on a plaque, and it's really pretty.
Isn't it?
It's nice.
Can you watch TV while you're working in your shop?
No, I have a little radio down there where I listen to music and the news.
How many hours of an evening do you put in?
Well, let's see. I go down there after dinner, about 8 o'clock, and I come up around after the 11 o'clock news and head to bed.
Head for the sack. Well, sir, you've given me a pretty good account of your entire day, and I don't know whether you know it or not, but you've listened to radio from about the time you get up until you go to bed, and no mention of TV. When do you watch television?
I've never missed a football game on the tube.
Time again for Tim and Jim, Guardian Maintenance Men, brought to you by your Chevrolet car and truck, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC truck dealer. Joining the boys, an old friend has just driven in.
Say, Jim, isn't that our old friend Harvey, who writes children's stories? Hi, Harvey.
Hi, Tim. Hi, Jim. Hi, Tim and Jim.
Can we help you?
Yes, this is my car. My car is red. See my red car?
Yes. What about it?
I am going away. I am going away in my red car. Go, car, go.
Well, Harvey, you probably want our summer travel special then.
Yes, I would like your summer travel special.
Maybe a quality engine tune-up. It's another of our featured Guardian Maintenance summer services.
Yes, yes.
And we're also installing seat belts, rotating tires, and balancing wheels.
See my dog Spot? My dog Spot is in my red car. I love to run and play with Spot. The pretty red car will go good. When will the red car be ready?
When the big hand is on 12 and the little hand is on 5.
Now, as a service of your Chevrolet, Pontiac, Oldsmobile, Buick, Cadillac, and GMC truck dealer, here is a list of names of people in this area who have not brought their vehicles in regularly for the important services as recommended in their owner protection plan.
Most have already done so, but those who haven't know who they are, and we know who you are.
Here's the first group: Morris Claremont, Arthur Skirmahorn, Helen Harkness, Frederick von Berkowitz,
T. Wilson Messi, Joan Antonsich, Gilbert Arian, Al Schaefer, and Linda Larkey.
Stanford Shule, Ole Olehi, Mary Magoon, and Harmon Myers.
This list includes those people who are due for the recommended services in their owner protection plan.
Calvin Hoogerman, Joseph Cabibbo, Natalie Attired, Melvin DeGiacomo, Shirley Schechten-Lusengard. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Clifford Fleming, William Heberling, Mary Backstage, Akbar Maitai.
Bring your car in now for your recommended Guardian maintenance services and avoid the embarrassment of being reminded on the air.
Thank you.
This is multifaceted reporter Wally Ballou speaking from the offices of two of the nicest guys in show business, certainly two of the most talented, as well as being my employers, Bob and Ray.
You forgot to mention we're also puncturers of pomposity. But never mind. Thank you, Wally, and we're glad to have this chance to talk to some of the people in advertising and broadcasting.
The RAB people suggested, since we've been connected with what we're told are successful, humorous radio commercials for some time, you might be interested in some of our thoughts on the subject.
Our commercial business, Goulding Elliott Graybar Incorporated, began 10 years ago following the initial success of the Piels Beer Bert and Harry commercials.
They were the legendary Bert and Harry commercials, right?
Thanks, Wally.
One of our first jobs was for General Motors Guardian Maintenance through DP Brother Agency of Detroit.
Our association with GM has resulted in nearly 150 Guardian maintenance commercials since the inception of the campaign.
We had a lot of fun putting together many of the Guardian maintenance spots, and here's one that stands out as a particular favorite of ours.
Yes, hello. I just want to say I think I've got Mothman living in my attic. I knew when we built the house and I installed that portal to another dimension up there, I'd regret it someday. Well, that day has come.
In our current Bob and Ray commercials for the General Electric Lamp Department, it was mutually decided between BBD&O, their agency, and ourselves to use a central continuing character in all the spots.
We felt that the use of a regular character would provide continuity between the company, its slogan, and its product. We selected one of the many members of our Bob and Ray staff, old-time announcer Kent Lyle Birdley, as the one to proclaim, light makes the difference in business, and GE makes the difference in light.
We headed up our presentation reel of commercials with this interview, a device, incidentally, we've frequently employed to introduce a client to our suggested spokesman. Frequently, too, the client will use this interview to preview advertising plans at sales meetings.
Are we on yet?
Yes, the mics are on now. Talking with Kent Lyle Birdley, who's been with the Bob and Ray staff for, well, just how many years now?
Well, that's 12 going on 13, Ray.
And not too unlucky, I might point out, because you have been chosen of all the members of our staff to be a spokesman for GE in the large lamp division.
Well, I certainly am most pleased at the appointment, and I feel that my feature highlights and sidelights on the world of illumination should certainly be of help to you and to General Electric.
Well, a lot of people would like to know a bit more about you.
Well, you just fire away, and
All
I'll be happy to answer any questions you may have.
You've been a radio announcer for a good many years. Just when did you start in the business?
Well, I started back in the late 20s in Chicago at the time, and I was befriended by Chester Hasbrook Frisbee. I think you remember him as the great Haired Animal Act announcer. He also did a lot of whistling programs around that period. He got me an audition, and my career began.
What was your first big show, do you recall?
Well, the first one in Chicago was The Little Show. I don't know if you remember that or not. I announced it, of course. Then came High, Low, and Dandy. I think that was a favorite. The Market Street Quiz was one of the first out-of-studio broadcasts that I had.
Man on the Street type of thing. Anything interesting happen to you during one of those Man on the Street programs?
Well, I had
I've heard
several.
so many stories down through the years.
No, nothing interesting happened in those days to me.
How's Paula?
Paula Dickinson, she was.
Well, wasn't she a society figure out there in
Chicago?
Meattown?
That's right. And we have a lovely family, 2 daughters, and Kent Jr., my son.
Kent must be, 3 or 4 now, I guess.
My goodness, no. Kent's 27 now, Ray. Time really flies, doesn't it? You know, warming up to this interview, I hadn't been heard from much in the 40s, and it's a time of my life I don't care much to discuss. Anyway.
That brings us right up to when,
that's when you
we
heard
contacted
me.
you. You brought back a memory to Bob and myself, and we got on the phone and said, come and join us at our big, sumptuous office in New York.
Do the General Electric commercials, and I was really thrilled, and I am. And I want to thank you for this new work that you've given me.
What will you call this campaign?
Well, I think we're going to title the series roughly Highlights and Sidelights on the World of Illumination.
Illumination.
Would you imagine that I will need to order a new tuxedo for these new commercials?
Well, I haven't seen. How old is the one you have
This
now?
is the one I started out with.
This is a tuxedo?
Well, it was a tuxedo once. There's not too much left of it. And I wear, of course, this 4-in-hand tie with it now.
Yeah. Well, I'd suggest you probably get a new one. And, the styles have changed so completely, really.
Yes, but if you wear a style long enough, I've discovered it comes back. These wide lapels are due for a resurgence.
Yes, but, it's kind of faded and it's kind of worn at the elbow. And
well,
it's the first tuxedo I've ever seen with a leather patch on it.
The leather patch is from the 40s.
Is it? I wonder what's the label in there? Wait a minute. This says rental. Return to I.J. Fox, Tremont Street, Boston.
I don't think he's missed it. Maybe that's where I was in the 40s.
Now we know where you've been. Okay, it's been swell talking to you,
Thank you, Ray, and Bob, too, and all of your staff. I'm thrilled to be working with you once again.
Well, I know GE folks are, too. Kent, Lyle, Birdley.
Good night, everyone.
Having gotten to know Kent, one is prone to be more receptive when hearing the commercials for the first time.
Hello, I'm old-time radio announcer Kent Lyle Birdley with another success story for the General Electric lamp department.
Hello. I'm in the controller's office at the Sayar Company, the world's largest maker of tongue depressors. I'm the controller.
I understand you've had lighting problems here at your plant.
Yes, the tongue depressors have been coming through shabby, and we also had problems here in accounting. Now, see this weekly payroll check?
Yes, it's for $960.
Well, that was mistakenly issued to our office boy. And this one for $43.50 went to our president, Mr. Sayar. It was then that an efficiency expert was called in.
Well, what did he do?
Well, he said, somebody turn on the lights. And they were already on.
Well, I suppose he then prescribed proper General Electric bulbs and fluorescents for all your plant and office needs.
Right. Everything improved, including the workers' morals.
Let me see that, Tom. That's worker morale.
Oh, well, they haven't fixed the lighting in my office yet. They're going to do that next week.
It's okay. We're on tape anyway. We can cut it out.
Good.
Light makes the difference in business, and GE makes the difference in light. Hello, this is Kent Lyle Birdley for your General Electric lamp department, chatting with friendly neighborhood supermarket manager Ferris Gallagher. You had some trouble here recently.
Well, it's been a continuing thing. My big problem here is these skinny people who come in and go out looking lumpy with picnic hams under their coats.
Oh, I see.
Another trick they use is to take a ketchup bottle and empty the ketchup into their pocket and put the ketchup bottle back on the shelf.
By the time they're out in the parking lot,
the ketchup bottle is drained and looks white, but they're gone.
Too late. But then you install GE Deluxe White Mercury lamp.
Yes, it's so beautifully lit out there now, I can see them unloading their ill-begotten booty into their cars.
Yes, for the first time, people can look good under mercury lamps with new GE Deluxe White Mercury lamps.
Another trick they did was exchange butter and margarine in the boxes. Go out with the margarine, with butter and margarine boxes, pay the margarine prices.
Why, that's terrible.
Tomorrow's special, 3 number 10 cans, Ford Hook Lima beans, 84 cents.
On behalf of Bob and Ray's campaign for a transistor radio in every home, this is award-winning reporter Wally Ballou at Professor Matthew E. Pulsiver's Computer Center. And what are you working on, Professor?
We've received some amazing figures from a group of radio people, and they'd like us to illustrate the figures with colorful comparisons so that the figures might be more easily understood.
Well, what are the figures?
There were 31 million new radios sold last year, bringing the total in the United States to 242 million, or 25% more radios in this country than people.
Amazing.
It certainly is. Oh, here come the comparisons. If all the radios in America were loaded into freight cars, it would make a train long enough to stretch from Chicopee, Massachusetts to Berwyn, Illinois.
Here's another one. If all the radios were put in one place and turned on at the same time, they'd make a noise loud enough to be heard in Lima, Peru.
Now listen to this one. If all the radios of the United States were dumped into the Grand Canyon, it would fill it halfway up and make quite a mess, too.
Professor, what does it all mean?
Darned if I know.
And now, for those of you who turned the record over and are still with us, we'd like to talk about insurance. Wait a minute, come back. Won't be that bad. Oh, he's gone.
Well, Wally, that's the very feeling that our clients, Nationwide Insurance, wanted to dispel. And their agency, Ogilvy Mather, recommended a humorous attack.
Together, we condensed the copy points to their most important minimum. We stressed the slogan, "The man from Nationwide is on your side," and emphasized the convenience of buying all kinds of insurance from this one man.
Individual commercials mention both these points, then specifically single out one type of insurance, life, health, home, or car, as the focal point of the spot.
We put this into the framework of a one-minute pseudo-documentary format entitled The Insured.
Nationwide Insurance presents The Insured, dramatizations based on the files of Nationwide agents. In today's story, an agent talks to a prospective policyholder.
You certainly have a large family.
That's why I wanted to talk to you about Nationwide's adjustable life plan. What is it?
Well, it's the most flexible life insurance plan you can buy. You can add protection to it or subtract from it as your needs change. What's your occupation?
Mornings, I test mushrooms at the supermarket. Afternoons, I repair high-tension power lines. I moonlight as target in a hatchet-throwing act.
I see.
And weekends, I indulge in my favorite hobbies, skydiving and alligator wrestling.
Interesting.
And I haven't been well.
Yes, well,
I'm just putting you on. I'm a piano tuner. Besides life insurance, the man from Nationwide sells health, home, and car insurance. For all your needs, remember, the man from Nationwide is on your side.
That was a 52-second spot allowing for a local tag. And this year for network radio, you did some 30-second commercials, didn't you? Yes, Wally, we did. Here's how we adapted the basic idea to the shorter format.
Nationwide Insurance presents another one of the Insured. Here to tell you why the man from Nationwide is on your side is Dr. B.R., dentist.
Open wide. Nationwide gives safe drivers a real break. Feel that? You see, by selecting safe drivers, Nationwide can offer low rates. Drivers pay only what they deserve to pay. Sensitive, huh? I pay less for my second car, too, with Nationwide. All right, now rinse out.
Thank you, B.R., dentist, for showing us how the man from Nationwide is on your side.
Incidentally, I guess we've all had trouble creating short commercials, 20-second spots, and even 10-second IDs. Trying to include a copy point and some humor into the abbreviated time isn't easy.
Here are a couple of IDs we did for Underwood Deviled Ham, featuring, of all people, the Underwood Devil.
Now a paid devil announcement, Mr. Devil.
Thank you.
You're speaking into your pitchfork. Face the microphone.
Underwood Deviled Ham makes a sandwich. It has a snappy flavor.
Time's up, Devil.
Cheapskate.
Hi.
Hello, young man. I'm the devil.
Hi, Devil. What's up?
Tell Mommy to make your school lunch sandwiches with hearty Underwood Deviled Ham.
I tied a knot in your tail.
We think the most effective combination of successful sell and humor in a commercial is when the copy points are kept to the barest minimum, relying on the humor format or device to get and hold attention for the sell.
And here's how it worked for the Interwoven people.
And now, Interwoven, the greatest name in socks, presents Honest Eddie's Sports Quiz.
Hi, fans. Get ready to call me when you have the answer. Maybe you'll win the big prize. Today, here's the first clue. Our sports figure made a name in baseball. His brothers were named Dom and Vince.
DiMaggio, Joe DiMaggio.
Well, that's not the answer. This ball player was a pitcher. His nickname was the Old Left-Hander.
Lefty Grove.
No.
Lefty Gomez.
No, sir. He was a right-handed pitcher.
What? The old left-hander was right-handed?
Here's another clue. He was known as one half of the Daffinus Boys. Now, while you think about the clues, here's a word for Interwoven Socks.
Are you missing important things your friends saw while you were bending over to pull up your socks? Then you should wear OTC by Interwoven, the over-the-calf stretch socks that stay smooth and stay up without garters, many colors and styles. So heads up with Interwoven OTC.
Well, no winner again today, fans. The answer to our clues is Jerome Dizzy.
Dean, Jerome Dizzy Dean, right?
I'm sorry, you're wrong. It was Jerome Dizzy, who pitched for the Keene, New Hampshire Townies in the early 50s.
Oh, one of these days I'm going to catch you, Honest Eddie. Interwoven, the greatest name in socks, presents Honest Eddie's Sports Quiz.
Hi, fans. Get set to call me when you have the answer. Maybe you'll win the big prize. Here's today's quiz. This figure made a mark in the sports world by hitting 61.
61 home runs in a season, Roger Maris.
Wrong. He made a mark in the sports world by hitting 61 batters in a doubleheader. We next see our mystery figure at Kitty Hawk, North Carolina, with his brother Wilbur.
Orville Wright.
Wrong. Would put Orville Wright in a sports quiz. Clue number 3, something to think about during the commercial. We finally see this genius in Menlo Park. Announcer?
Now, eliminate bare leg gap. Those inches of bare leg between your socks and trouser cuff forever. With OTC, over-the-calf socks by Interwoven. They stay smooth and stay up without garters. The genius of Menlo Park was Thomas A. Edison, but since this is a sports quiz, I know that can't be the answer.
Then you don't have the answer.
No, I don't.
I'm sorry, it was Thomas A. Edison.
He's a sports figure?
Of course he is. Without his invention, there'd be no night games.
One of these days, I'm going to get you, Honest Eddie. In the spring of this year, and wasn't it beautiful, the Radio Advertising Bureau asked us to come up with the ultimate in something.
It was like a Gainsborough come to life,
Yes.
actually.
Commercials using radio to sell radio.
The main theme was a transistor radio in every home, with additional emphasis on the portability of radio and its emergency value, the latter point having been underlined by the power blackout of the previous fall. This is radio's controversial, frequently quoted award-winning reporter, Wally Ballou, in behalf of the campaign to get transistor radios in every home. I'm asking people to tell me how radio has helped them in an emergency. Are you, sir?
Well, you've got the right guy to ask about radios in an emergency situation.
How's that?
I'm disaster-prone. I've stumbled upon almost every calamity in the last 50 years. Go ahead, name a disaster, any disaster.
Well, Hurricane Betsy.
I was right in the eye of that one.
Did a transistor radio help you there?
It told me what was happening every minute. I even heard myself being rescued on the radio.
How about the big blackout?
At the time, I was wearing a towel in a steam bath, listening to my transistor. It kept me calm and stopped me from running out in the street that way.
That would have been embarrassing. How about the San Francisco earthquake, the Chicago fire?
Well, I'm not that old, Ballou.
Oh, sorry.
However, I was hanging around Wall Street a lot when the stock market crashed in '29.
Did radio help you that time?
No, I was too busy crying to listen to it. Now, these were sent to radio stations throughout the country as a public service by RAB, which felt humor would get a bigger play on the stations, thus a wider distribution of their message.
This is multiple award-winning reporter Wally Ballou on the street in behalf of Bob and Ray's campaign for a transistor radio in every home. Everyone's familiar with radio's stellar performance in crises such as floods, hurricanes, blackouts, and blizzards. And we're going to ask people here on the street if radio ever helped them in such a situation. How about you, sir?
Well, every morning it helps me because it gets me up and to work on time because my boss does not tolerate lateness or tardiness.
I see. It would be a crisis if you were late.
You bet. I get up to nice music and the news. It
Good.
saves my life. My boss is very cranky and he's warned me about it, and
okay.
That's why, yeah.
How about this lady over here?
I don't know what I'd do without radio. Yes, sir.
Fine.
Right.
Madam?
What?
Has radio ever helped you in a crisis?
It surely has. Just a week ago Tuesday, it saved my life, I think.
How was that?
Well, I put it in a sock and hit a burglar on the head with it.
Here's a burglar type over here. You look like you're on the lam, sir.
What a head I've got.
This is Wally Ballou, and Bob and Ray, I'd like to ask you a question. For all the commercials you've made over the years since the founding of your firm, there must be some special favorites that stand out to you. Can you take us back through memory lane and play a few? How about one of those early Peel Brothers ones?
Well, that was the very beginning of our wonderful firm.
This is Bert Peel.
And this is Harry Peel.
Peel's tastes best of all because it's driest of all. Remember that, viewers. Peel's...
Excuse me, Bert. Friends, my brother is so enthusiastic over our wonderful beer that, well, sometimes, without meaning to, he offends an occasional viewer.
Offends?
Well, I'm sorry, Bert. We've had some letters, and a lady in New Jersey said that you... I'm sorry. You go ahead.
No. I've tried to tell people how delicious our beer is, how it will bring happiness into their nice homes. Somehow I've offended. You tell them, Harry. They like you. You're personable. I'm offensive. Goodbye, consumers.
Well, I'm sorry he's so sensitive. I never should have... Bert!
Bullseye! Proof. Peel's aims for dryness, and we don't miss.
Well, as Bert, thank goodness, says, if you taste it and smack your lips, it's a product of Peel Brothers, Brooklyn, New York, most likely.
Unquestionably, Harry.
Well, now that we've heard Bert and Harry, how about some others?
We'd be delighted to play them.
My name is Warren P. Birchfield, friendly young druggist. I'd been out delivering Johnson's back plasters when my bicycle chain broke, and I was picked up by a gentleman driving a dynamite truck. Almost immediately, he turned to me saying...
Notice the grimace of pain etched on my rugged outdoor features?
Yes, all of the earmarks of a muscular backache.
Exactly.
Well, there's no need to tolerate that. This Johnson's back plaster treats a backache as simply as you would a headache.
Okay. Let's switch seats here, and I'll put it on.
All right, fine.
Let me slide over there.
Watch yourself.
Hey, this warm flannel backing is giving my muscles firm support.
Yes.
And soothing heat has begun already. Now I'll be able to continue my active outdoor driving life while enjoying blessed relief.
And continue it he did. Friends, next time muscular backache strikes you, why not say as others do, suffering quickly relieved, thanks to Johnson's back plaster. In our studio, there's a lovely little lady that you've heard us refer to
many times. She lives in Lebanon, New Hampshire. She's visiting New York and, of course, the Bob and Ray Show. Mrs. Fenley, you've sent us pies and cakes for a long time now. Have we been answering your requests all right?
Yes, you have.
The beer truck's been getting there on time every week.
Every Wednesday like clockwork.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Miss Fenley, have you noticed that...
Have I noticed you're going to talk to me now, I suppose, about tab opening aluminum tops on the beer cans?
That's right. You know who developed that? Alcoa. And boy, it makes
did.
it so easy to open one of those cans. You just...
Yes, well, I love to. I just open them one after the other. I've got opened 3 or 4 cases at a time, just out of the sheer fun of it.
Uh-huh. Well, that's a little bit wasteful, of course.
Well, I do drink the beer, too.
Oh, fine.
Yes.
Nice to have you here, and we've got to get back. Well, all right, that'll be enough.
Oh, I can't stop once I start.
Time now for another interview with a great American painter, brought to you by Glidden Paints. Hello, Bill Miles.
Huh? Oh, hi.
We're standing on almost a vacant lot. There's one house there. You going to paint that house, Bill?
No, I painted this one back here.
Well, I don't see any house back there.
Well, that's proof that I've done my job well.
What do you mean?
Well, I've camouflaged it.
Camouflaged a house?
Yes, sir. Most unusual house painting job I've ever had. That's a Dutch colonial that you think's the forest.
Why would anybody commission you to camouflage their house?
Well, I guess the fellow owes a lot of money or something, and he doesn't want the bill collectors to find his house.
Have you used all 38 homogenized spread house paint colors?
Just 37. I could use 38, but I just needed 37 to do the job.
Uh-huh.
It goes on easy, this homogenized spread house paint.
They tell me it lasts 50% longer, too.
That's right. They won't be able to find that house for years.
Did you have to use 37 different brushes, Bill?
No, that's the beauty part. Just rinse the brush between colors and just start in the new one.
Wonderful.
Say, do you have a few seconds?
Why, yes.
Help me find the front door so I can give the guy his bill, will you?
This is your Cumuloft Hollywood reporter with beloved star Lurch McBain. We're at Lurch's favorite Japanese restaurant, Clyde's.
That's right, Jimmy. I like to come here because you have to take your shoes off and sit on the floor.
What's so good about that?
Well, as you can feel, the restaurant's covered wall to wall with carpeting of luxurious Cumuloft nylon pile. Feels neat on the feet.
Well, how can you tell it's Cumuloft?
But Jimmy, Clyde's my friend and a friend of all my friends. And he left the big blue C tags on them. That tag identifies nylon carpeting made to mill and Chemstrand quality standards.
Carpeting you can trust. It certainly is soft. I could sit here for hours.
You may have to, Jimmy. Clyde's not too strong on service.
Well, what do you recommend we eat?
We'll start with the minestrone tempura and then try their wonderful sukiyaki sauerbraten. It's great.
Sounds delicious.
I guess. But I see time's wasting, and I promise to sing a little song. Up, 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 up.
Close in 5 minutes.